10 important things that everybody knows, but everybody seems to forget when they kick off. First, find one problem and focus on solving it. Simple as that. Two, learn to explain your business idea in 1 to 3 sentences. And if you can't, you probably still don't know what you're doing. And this may sound controversial, but as Einstein said, if you don't know how to explain something to a 6-year-old, you probably don't understand it yourself. And it applies to business too. Third, fill in the business model canvas. It's a simple exercise. It's going to take you 2 hours, but it's going to teach you plenty about your own idea. Talk and research. Talk to as many people as possible and ask for honest feedback. Don't be afraid of criticism, since criticism here is something very good. Check on competition, both direct as indirect, to make sure the solution is worth it. For Uber, the competition isn't only Lyft. It's also taxis, carpools, private cars, friends giving a lift, or even walking or biking. Learn as much as possible about the target audience, and again, talk to them. How to create. First, very important rule everybody seems to forget. Don't fall in love with your solution. Fall in love with the people you're solving the problem for. And if you think your idea is brilliant, flawless, it's going to be hard for you to adapt to what you find out on the market to be true. Seek failure. There's always a chance your idea isn't what market is actually wanting. Then it's worth to find out on the first date rather than after 10 years of marriage. So build business that you understand. If you're an architect, solve problems for architects, not for firefighters. And the most important rule, build something small, show it to public, ask for feedback, improve and repeat. And I can't underline how important this is. I'm going to repeat it quite a lot here. So to give you a better understanding how it works in practice, let's jump into examples. And for starters, Airbnb. They didn't start from Booking Clown. They evolved to what they are now. They solved one single problem the founders deeply understood. And they released 3 times. So you shouldn't be afraid either of the bad beginnings, because you can always start over. It was 3 times for them. It can be 10 for you. Nobody's counting. They pivoted many times and reacted to feedback, constantly grew. Sounds like a simple recipe, right? But we're not Airbnb, you can say, and you're probably right. Airbnb, Uber, Facebook, these are cases 1 in a million. So let's talk about startups that succeed every day, that aren't done by people smarter or luckier than us, and they dominate their own niches, so you can do too. First example from my own playground, from Warsaw in Poland. A business major student wants to find a musician to play guitar. Doesn't find the right marketplace for it. Learns how to set up a simple single web page in 3 afternoons, and I'll show you afterwards how you do it, how you can do it yourself too. Publishes a web page that magically links musicians with students. Have the whole back office managed in Microsoft Excel. So there is no artificial intelligence. It's just his intelligence and hard work matching data queries by himself. Matches 100 people. 100 couples actually manually, students and musicians, and focuses on most important things in his business and finds investor no problem. And right now, when whoever wants to learn to play guitar in my city naturally goes to the webpage. Takeaways from this simple case study: apply technology after you prove the idea to be working. Use the cheapest way to manage your business and to test out your ideas. Give the investors go to investors when you are ready, when you have a list of clients to pull off just much better deal. And in other words, fake it till you make it, like the sweetie kitty on your right. So, all right, this is one of my favorites, and actually one of our clients. And the story goes like this. The founder is an experienced video editor. He finds a real problem for his niche and looks for investor and fails miserably. The investors don't understand his problem, don't understand his solution. So he doesn't give up. He joins a pre-accelerator, gets tons of feedback, and wins the pre-accelerator. Then he, unfortunately, sells his old car so he can afford his idea visualization, and spends $5K for a visual prototype. something we've done for him, and you can see it here. A beautiful visualization that looks exactly as the app would, but it just has no development behind it. Spends another 1,000 to reach out to his target group, finds hundreds of people who are willing to work with him and use his product, and then actually, literally, 4 investors fight to be part of Rendero. And at the end of the day, he buys himself a much better car. So takeaways. Design is much cheaper than development, and it's easier to make changes with it too. So it's very often a good idea to start with design rather than building the whole technology around it. People love beautiful things, and it makes so much more sense to build something simple and beautiful than something complex but not intuitive. So seek feedback at every stage and never stop. A third and the last case, do what you understand as the architects for architects, not for firefighters. So clinical test scientist loves his great idea. He's really in love with this. I want to spend his lifetime savings on a job board app. Ideamotive strongly advises against because he doesn't really know much about it. We finally convinced him to spend only 10% of budget on tests, and he very quickly realizes that he has no idea about recruitment services, business management, or target group. So he gives up on the project and invests his savings into a clinical test lab. So maybe he doesn't have a fancy startup, but he definitely has a fancy lab, and he really is grateful to us for life because he used his money wisely. A quick takeaways: solve problem that you understand and you can relate to. Fail fast. If there is something that can go wrong, force it to go wrong so you can learn from it as quick as possible. And regardless what Nike says, just do it is not always the best advice, especially regarding your finances. Simply, and again, successful founders are those who follow these simple rules and understand, believe in them, and they build, test, improve, and repeat as many times as it takes. And okay, some of you are probably asking, all right, so how do I build it? How do I do the first part? How do I build it? And there is 5 ways you can do it. You can start development or design by yourself, and let's go quickly through them. Technical founders. It's only a good idea if you want to split a company with that person. But remember, most likely at some point you will have to find and hire new different tech people, because tech people are very specialized and won't solve you all of the problems. So it's good because it helps with your technical problems, but it can eat huge percentage of your shares. So make sure it's worth it. Freelancer. It's a good idea if you can trust that person and if you know how to check their skills and quality of of things that they deliver. And it's a very cost-efficient, or most cost-efficient, or almost most cost-efficient solution, but it's difficult to manage them, especially if you have no technical skills or experience. Agency. Very often, almost always, the best agencies are also those very expensive. So choose agencies you can trust, and they have great testimonials. You can ask people you trust for recommendation. Choose agencies that are fully dedicated teams with startups experience, because you don't want to end up as a too small client for a company that focuses on enterprise business only. So pros: all-round services and high quality, but cons: they're expensive, and some of them are really expensive. So make sure, in many cases, founders can't afford bad quality, so it's a good idea for them, but just make sure you have enough resources before starting. And that might be a little surprising, but most of the things that you need at the very beginning aren't rocket science and don't require knowledge of rocket science. And if you're motivated enough, there's plenty of things you can do yourself. Online store, use Shopify. Landing page, Insta page, it's extremely easy to do that. Blog or CMS, use WordPress. You want to model your business? ClickUp, highly recommended. Schedule a meeting, super easy, Calendly. Brainstorm your ideas, Miro. Manage your data, everybody knows about it, Google spreadsheet. And if there is something not on the list, just go to Product Hunt or G2, and there's huge chances you will find that. So I use all of them, and very often you can do too. So remember, it limits Doing everything by yourself limits, obviously, your results to your time and skills, but sometimes it's just the best idea because you also have spent zero money.